Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second edition today of The Difference Makers. I am joined by a good friend of mine and a difference maker herself, Michelle Burlison. I'm going to introduce her in a second. I wanted just to take a minute and let everybody know a little bit about what The Difference Makers is, as you saw probably on the intro. The Difference is a program, digital branding, video branding program where we focus on small businesses, local small businesses, entrepreneurs, independent contractors, real estate professionals, real estate support professionals, and nonprofits. And what we want to be able to do, our goal is to bring awareness to these small businesses and what they're doing professionally, and then also within and for our communities, because without small businesses, our communities would not be the same. So having said that, I'm going to go now into get this show started. I want to introduce to you Michelle Burlison. Michelle, welcome. This is your first. Well, you've been a guest before, but this is your first being a co-host, right?
Right. I'm excited.
I am too. Excited about your guest today. I think you hit a home. It's going to be hard to top this because you hit a home run with this guest today, mainly because I have, over the past year, we've done a couple of shows on the topic of kind of the industry that she serves, and it's incredible. I mean, it is eye-opening. It's sad and it's exciting, and every emotion you can think of. It's amazing what these companies, these people, these entities are doing to help people and people in our communities, and so I'm excited to bring her on in a minute, but before we do, I want you to tell everybody who Michelle Burlison is, what Michelle Burlison does, and what you do for small businesses.
All right. Well, who I am is a business owner of two small businesses. So, of course, small business has my heart. And as well, I'm a mother of 4 boys. I am a pretty much full-time hockey mom in addition to all of that. So I sleep very little. I love what I do. I'm very passionate about going into businesses and making them healthier from a financial perspective. So I love saving them money. I love helping with their marketing if I get an opportunity to do that as well. So that's really who I am and what I do. And did you want me, London, to talk about my guest just yet?
Not yet. I want to talk a little bit about your business. Before the show, you were talking about how, as a business consultant, and there's only just a few of them out there, right? There's not very many.
Right, exactly.
But you know what? This is why it's so great. This is why I wanted to connect with you because, and I will always do cheesy plugs for The Difference, but I like businesses that have that uniqueness, that are different. And I always want to bring that out. What is the difference? What is the difference between you as a consultant and other consultants? Number one is saving money, right? When you say that, may not be number one, but that's a big one. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, that is a big one. There's a million business consultants out there, and there's probably a million good ones. But the cost reduction or cost savings consultants are really few and far between. So that makes it unique in and of itself. That's a narrow market with a few players, really. We are the largest. Actually, I'm a small business because I own the franchise, but overall, we have 200 franchisees across the country, which enables me to leverage 200, brains, essentially. And I do love that. And that makes us the largest in North America. So that's pretty exciting. But what's really unique is the business model. Instead of charging $300 an hour for consulting or more, we actually do all of our work up front do not charge a penny. The only time we get paid is when we actually deliver savings to our clients. That makes our model unique. This puts a small or mid-market business in a no-lose proposition. So they don't have any risk. And I think that's a really great opportunity for any business.
Absolutely. So I'm a small business owner and I contact you and I'm like, I need your help, whatever it may be. You're going to come in, you're going to evaluate my business, and you're going to tell me where I can cut costs, save costs. And then once I do and implement these things, then that's when I pay you, right? Once the proof is there already. So that's an incredible value, right? I'm not paying to see if you're smart enough to help me. I'm paying because you did help me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're only paying for results, and it's completely self-funded because you obviously, everything you save goes immediately to your bottom line and to your profit. So that's a really good thing as well. We specialize, I want to say, in certain operational costs where we are extremely strong at finding the best value in the market or working with that person's current vendors just to lock everything down so that they are receiving market pricing instead of something north of the best available pricing in that market. And it's a neat value. Just giving them the report brings them value.
That's really cool because I talk all the time about entrepreneurs and we have a certain skill set, right? When we decide we're going to go into business for ourselves, there's usually a skill set that we have developed over the years of experience and training, education, whatever it may be. But there is a ton of things as a business owner that we're not skilled in. Some of that is understanding how to get the best cost on a lot of the services that we need. So you're telling me that you come in with the experience, with the knowledge, with the understanding that can show me, Lyndon, you've been paying this, but you don't need to pay that much. You really could be paying this, right? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, 100%. And in addition to coming in with the experience and the process and those types of things, we also come in with technology, right? So we have software and databases, et cetera, that help us with that process. That's how we're able to say confidently that you are in fact overpaying or you're fully optimized, you have the best pricing available.
That is so cool. So if you're a small business owner out there, and I know a lot of them watch, we got several watching right now. If you don't want to save money, you might as well turn us off. But if you do, you need to get in touch with Michelle. Your information scrolling at the bottom. It's going to be scrolling off and on throughout your segment. So now I want you to introduce your friend. I'm excited to get her on, start talking a little bit about what she does. But let's go ahead and bring Kelly in now.
Absolutely. Yes. So hey, Kelly. So meeting Kelly was eye-opening. Like Lyndon said, it's eye-opening. So hearing what Kelly does and how she serves our community, and this is about making the difference. So the reason I chose Kelly, and like you said, Lyndon, I kind of maybe hit it out of the park and might be hard to top because Kelly makes a difference. And I don't want to steal all her thunder, but she is with a very important organization called Treasured Vessels. So go ahead, Kelly.
Hi, my name is Kelly Singleton. I am the Director of Community Impact for 501c3 nonprofit called Treasured Vessels Foundation. And so just a little bit about me really quick. I live in the Frisco area, married with 2 children, and I got involved with this organization back in 2019. My husband and I went to a tour that was put on by some individuals about Treasured Vessels. And right then and there, I learned about what's going on in my own backyard with, human trafficking alone. And just finding out that, gosh, if I've been under a rock, do I really just not know what's happening? I just, I thought this was third world countries. I didn't think this was here locally. And so from that point on, I was in a career change myself and just had the ability to be able to come on board with this nonprofit and really just start to dynamically help them with connections and fundraising. And so that's what I currently do at Treasured Vessels. And just a little bit about TVF, to shorten it. is that, just from human trafficking in the perspective, to kind of educate the audience, it's estimated that in the state of Texas, there are 313,000 victims of human trafficking, and 79,000 of those are minor and youth sex trafficking victims. So in the state of Texas, which ranks number 2 in the nation for human trafficking, there's not enough beds for long-term rehabilitation for those that have been rescued. I always like to say, the people really know, like we get excited, right? When adults are rescued from sex trafficking, but then we start to ask the question, where do they go? Do they go back to loving families? A lot of times the answer is no. And so what we've done at TVF is that we're bridging the gap. TVF provides safe communities to restore survivors of sexual exploitation to achieve their true potential. Our organization was founded in 2016 by Alicia Bush, our founder and CEO, who is a full-time volunteer. And so we were able to open phase 1 January of 2020. And we serve currently women ages 18 to 24, and they receive wraparound care and services for up to 36 months. TVF has the current capacity to serve 4 in our home now, and we're located in the Collin County area. And of course, we're a safe home, so we never reveal our location. Past year, so in 2020, we call our resident interns RIs. More than just survivors or victims, we want to always kind of classify them in a way where they feel supported and that we can continue just to help them as they get the restoration that they need. And so last year we were able to provide 768 care days in 2020, and we were able to serve 9 women and 1 baby. And so that was incredible for our very first year. We opened during a pandemic, which was very difficult. But now, phase 2, we're expanding. And so we're able to go now from 4 beds to 12 this upcoming year. That's a goal of ours, as well as launch a transitional housing facility. And so right now, like I said, we provide that wraparound care. And what transition does is it's that phase 2 of their journey where they start to become a little more autonomous, whether they're going to college, whether they're working a part-time job, still receiving that mental health support that our program provides. And so that's all our goal is to have that take place by the end of 2021 as we expand. Phase 3, we're going to launch a medical program, a drop-in center, and increase beds from 12 to 20 by the end of 2022. And then phase 4, we're being planned out as a separate residential community in another location for minors. And this campus will be located on a 30-acre secure property where we are targeted to open by 2024. And so this will actually be the first long-term residential treatment program for survivors in North Texas who are under the age of 18.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit. I don't want to get too far in it, but you talked about the different phases. There's the rescue phase, right? And we've had some shows, quite a few shows about this. I got so fascinated in it. I was encouraging at the time the host. I'm like, I want to know more. I want to. Like I said, we're doing what we can to bring awareness to these incredible community projects and the people in our communities. And so I wanted to figure out how to leverage the difference in our audience. And I was learning so much, I could not get enough. You mentioned something that we do think it's third world countries. When I see this stuff, before this started happening, before I started listening, I would see this stuff on the news and I felt terrible. But I didn't feel as terrible as I should have because I didn't realize, I thought it was somebody else's problem. And I know that sounds really kind of uncaring, but you're like, well, what can I do? That's way over there, right? That's in that other country. And, and then when we started talking, we had these conversations and I realized that's in our neighborhoods. These things are happening in our neighborhoods to our neighbors. There's people we're passing every day that are struggling with this and trying to survive. Let's talk a little bit about that because I think that goes back then. I think that that's important. If I can form this question right, knowing that it's in our neighborhoods, it's vital for the rehab process, right? To give them an alternative and to empower them so that they don't have to go back maybe to those families that they were in or whatever it was that they were trapped in. Am I somewhere close to explaining that right, Kelly?
Yes, and you know what, like I said, what we do is wraparound care. So from the rehabilitation side, it's individual, it's group therapy, we do equine therapy, art therapy, yoga therapy, anything with that, just a particular kind of therapy bend to it. That's what's a part of our program. And then, we also provide educational and leadership. Part of our program is leading these survivors to be able to live that autonomous life and to make good choices and put good tools in their tool belts, because right now we serve adults. They could walk out at any given time. And, our hope is that, what's success, even 5 days in our program, we knew that we were able to give them a safe home. They had food to eat, clothes on their back, that they weren't, and this is again a hard topic to talk about, but they weren't being, raped those 5 days. And so looking, at the big picture, how do we measure that success? It's providing that safety and that care, but we also understand that there's such a huge potential for the mental health side of things to be able to be fixed and to be able to be, healed and restored, and just giving them the opportunity. Mental health is a huge topic, right? I mean, we could just talk about the mental health just from the pandemic alone. But these survivors, the types of trauma that they've gone through, it just takes years to really, truly recover. And, those recidivism rates that we see out there where maybe they've gotten a little bit of help and then they go right back out. You think, gosh, somebody's been rescued from this. Why in the world would they want to go back in that life? But if that's all that they know, that trauma bond from that experience is so strong, that providing an outlet for them to get that healing is what we do. And you're right, it's everywhere. It's really easy, living in Frisco, right? It's really easy to want to say, oh, I live in my bubble, or I live in a safe community, or I've taught my kids well, or I keep my kids secure. But I always say, the biggest, who is a victim, or who can be a victim to sex trafficking? It's really anybody that's vulnerable. This is not a kind of kidnap and run. I don't know how to say this any better. That's a bad business model. And so for this type of organized crime, it's a slow growth. This is something where they're developing relationships with individuals, with children, on gaming, on social media, in the schools. And so it's just really being able to have that education and awareness and understand what's going on, what's truly happening with sex trafficking, and not saying, I'm afraid to send my kids somewhere because somebody might kidnap them and, traffic them. But really understanding that this is a slow growth, slow manipulation process. And really the key here is education. It's really understanding what's happening in our backyards, and really being able to educate families and children alike, just so that they know the dangers.
What do we need as people in our community, as small business owners, which the small business owners are the citizens of the community? What do we all need to be aware of? What do we need to be looking for in order to help make an impact to slow the growth of this terrible, terrible industry?
I think it depends on the small business, but a lot of times it's awareness of how to identify what's happening. So for instance, you might see an older adult with a younger, but male or female. And maybe there's some tension there, some awkwardness, just really being able to identify what you would think doesn't look right. We actually had one of our survivors say, I'd rather you be wrong than you be right. So go ahead. If you feel like something's off at that particular time, make a phone call. 911, there's a national human trafficking hotline. I mean, there's several things, that I could even list for people to be able to reach out to, but it's really being able to identify and stay educated. And then as business owners, just like I said, being educated, educating your staff, educating, having opportunities for a small business to do like a lunch and learn or something where they can provide an opportunity to reach more people. And so I would just say for a business, just to really stay educated on what's going on. And a lot of times right now, what we're seeing is that businesses like hotels or just those that might be a little more in direct contact with this are getting educated. But this is not typically the topic that a businesses would stay educated on.
Okay. Obviously, every organization like yours needs funding. Money doesn't grow on trees. How do you guys fund what you have? Where can people help? How can people contribute?
Absolutely. So majority of our funding up to this date has been more individual donations. To give you a perspective, I don't know if you're familiar with substance abuse rehabilitation at all. I mean, that could cost in 1 month $30,000. So what we do on this side is very expensive. It's about $180 per young woman per day to be in our program. That gets very expensive. And so right now we have the ability, we have, obviously there's in-kind donations as well. We have an Amazon list that we have out there right now to help with our new home, our new safe home. But really it's funding. It's being able to donate back to our organization. And on our website, treasuredvesselsfoundation.org/donate. That is a great place to start. And you can sign up as just a one-time donation, or you can sign up as a monthly donor.
Okay. What about awareness? I mean, one of the things that we do, obviously I said this at the beginning of the show, I was talking about the small businesses, the for-profit small businesses, and how as a community, as consumers in the community, but as small business owners in the community, our endorsement of other small businesses are bringing awareness. I told y'all both this before, that my background is brand development, business development, awareness, promotion, endorsement. Those are the three key components. Obviously, you and Treasured Vessels need more people to know who you are and what you're doing. How can our communities, the people in our communities, the businesses in our communities, how can people help bring more awareness to Treasured Vessels?
There's several opportunities. One of our strategies on, outside of events, right? Events have been really tricky through the pandemic, but fortunately we're opening back up. And like we have an event coming up on the 27th at a restaurant, local restaurant, Edith's in Plano. And we were able to take over the restaurant, with the mask mandate and everything coming down. It just allowed us to have a little more room for individuals to be there. But that third party fundraising concept where somebody can come in, and whether it's a happy hour, whether it's a brunch, or whether it's just something where you are scheduling something, whether it's at your place of business or somewhere else, another like venue where you can come, and then we can come in and educate and share more about what we're doing. And invite those in your circle of influence. Those are great ways for people to help us fundraise.
Michelle, do you have any questions, any comments, thoughts? I want to make sure I'm getting you in here. I will hijack these questions because the first show that we did, I got sick at my stomach when I started hearing some of the stories, and then I got angry. I mean, really, really angry. I'm still kind of in shock at what goes on in this world. I mean, I'm like, and I think that's the other thing. I think so many of us are detached because we don't understand how people can act that way, how they can actually be that way.
Right.
And then when you realize it, man, I've got neighbors that potentially are suffering through this stuff. You want to get involved. And so, I get kind of fired up and start chasing, the questions here. But Michelle, jump in here, talk to us a little bit and help me.
Help you. Yeah, it's true though. I mean, you want to go all vigilante, right? And I start looking at people strange and wondering their circumstance, and that's why it's almost dangerous for me to hang around too many, times with Kelly or spend too much time with Kelly. But one of the things about education and awareness is so important. I mean, I'm a boy mom, and they have lots of teammates and friends. And so, I do like to point out to the boys, this is not a you problem, as the kids like to say. This is not my problem. This is a you problem. No, this is our problem as a society. And it affects boys too. Boys are trafficked, not just girls. I know, the statistics are it is the majority female, but the boys as well. And so, I do bring that to their attention because online gaming, as you can imagine, is a pretty popular activity in my house. And it's just scary to think about that. Also, Kelly, can you talk a little bit about, you guys have an upcoming golf tournament, I believe, right?
We do.
Raise some money and for people to be outside and get some vitamin D.
Yes, April's a perfect time for a golf tournament. I feel like anybody that's a golfer has already been itching to be on the course. And so April 12th at Oak Hollow in McKinney we've got, I was going to say it's a long URL, but it's through Golf Status, and that's where our registration is. But if you reach out to me, I can send you direct information about registration and sponsorship. And then it's all over our social media as well. And our social media, by the way, is just find us at, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram at Treasured Vessels Foundation. And so, but it's April 12th, 1 p.m. start time. And we hope to have 144 golfers out there. We're excited. There's a lot of sponsorship opportunities. This specific tournament, though, is raising support for our capital funds to be able to start building on that donated land. This is the land that will be able to house children. So for us, this is a very important piece to start. And so right now for this particular golf tournament, that's what this is raising funds for. So it's called Sticks and Bricks, which is our capital side of fundraising. And so that's what's on April 12th. And so we're really excited about that and moving forward with having the golf tournament. And that's actually, we've got a Carson Wealth. They are some volunteers and donors of ours, and they are helping out through this. And so we're really just thankful for the opportunity to be able to get outside, like you said, Michelle, and have an opportunity to have fun and play golf, but also raise money for an important cause that's going to, eventually be able to open doors to something that we currently just don't have in Texas right now, which is that long-term therapy piece for minors. And as we know, that's, we see things every day about minors getting rescued. And I still go back to, where did they go? They don't go back a lot of times to these loving families. Maybe a rare case like an Elizabeth Smart, but that's just a very rare situation. And they tend to go, back into just unhealthy and unsafe situations. And the thing is, if you look at the cycle, if we don't help, and if we don't help these survivors, they eventually become the traffickers. That's kind of the next step. And so if you look at the cycle, it's a supply and demand issue. And if we don't help with that, then we continue to just fight this ever-growing problem, here locally and in our state. And so these are definitely numbers, I think, in our state we're not proud of. And so I know our goal is to be able to help at least what we can, whether it's 4x4, 6x6 homes, to be able to start that rehab process and create these community leaders, out of this place of rehab. They can go back and help others. And so we just want to see them find the freedom and the healing they deserve, and they have the potential for.
That is so awesome. Well, ladies, we only have about 2.5 minutes left, so I'm going to give Kelly a chance here in a second to kind of tell everybody how to get in touch and connect with Treasured Vessels. Before we do, Kelly, I wanted to ask, obviously I said it before, but awareness. How are you guys marketing now? How are you bringing awareness to Treasured Vessels?
So we market through email, social media, just other, maybe even partners in our space that we have connected with. So I would say those are our biggest channels right now for marketing, and we're developing some video content. Our founder, Alicia, does different podcasts, and she does different things where she's out there speaking, sharing her story. She's got an incredible story, even just how she founded TVF and just her journey through that. So those are just different ways that we market now.
Okay. Well, this is kind of last minute, but I just wanted to say that I would, if the difference can help in any way, we would love to. If there's a way that we can create some awareness, put this out in front of our audience, whether it's advertisements, whether it's promotion, whether it's you having a segment on the difference makers, anything like that. I want to offer that now, because I mean, we're here to make the difference. We have a large audience, and if I can help in any way with, especially with the small businesses, maybe helping them become aware and being able to maybe contribute in whatever way they can. I'd love to talk to you after the show. Let's see if we can figure out something to help.
I appreciate that, Linda, very much.
Sure. All right. Tell everybody how to get in touch with you.
So you can reach us through our website, treasuredvesselsfoundation.org. You can reach me directly at Kelly, Kelly, treasuredvesselsfoundation.org. I said we're on, all the social media channels right now, from LinkedIn to Facebook to Instagram. You can find more information about what we're doing out there. And then our phone number, 469-405-7148 is our office line. And you can reach me or anyone from our office there as well. So those are the best ways to connect.
Awesome. All right, Michelle, I want you to tell everybody how to get in touch with you as well. And great job today. I mean, again, bringing Kelly on, you set the bar really high. I have high expectations for you moving forward.
Well, awesome. For anyone who wants to connect with me, I am at michelle.burlison@schooleymitchell.com. That's kind of a long email address, but I will be happy to also put you in touch with Kelly if that's who you're looking to connect with as well. Thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I brought Mark in. Mark's going to be my co-host for this next segment. But Mark, I don't know how much of that you got to see, but man, that's some impressive stuff.
Enough that it resonated. And Kelly, we definitely got to connect. Any way I can help definitely struck a chord with me, and love to offer my audience a platform and anything else I can do.
Thank you, Mark.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Kelly, good meeting you. Michelle,
You too.
thanks so much for all you do. Thanks for what both of you do. And y'all keep making the difference.
Thank you.
Mark, my man, that was crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've sat through, I think we've done 3 shows over the past year. You met Holly. Holly is the one that was really kind of involved in that, and she's brought some really fantastic people. One person, this was so cool. He was actually in the rescue portion. We had to kind of like, we had to black out his face, but he couldn't. He had to be anonymous or
that one.
Yeah. I mean, so he's telling all these stories. I mean, it's like a Jason Bourne type deal, and just the rescues, what they do and how they go about, rescuing these people. And it was incredible. And that was our first show. And from that point, I was like, man, I never knew. I never knew. And it's so much going on in our communities that we need to be aware of. We need to be working together to make an impact. But anyway, that's a little bit.
It's unbelievable what you're doing, man. You are making the difference just by hosting the difference.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I know where I want to go with this. I know what I think we can all do collectively together, in so many ways. I mean, in the nonprofits, in our communities, and for small businesses, there's so many entrepreneurs out there that need mentorship, and I get to meet some incredibly talented, experienced and gifted entrepreneurs every day. And I want to find a way that we all can connect. And I know there's so many organizations out there that do that. There's so many different ways. My format for this is I want us to connect in a public forum so other people get to watch and see this, because some people are a little hesitant of getting engaged in the beginning. But I think as long as we can act out what we say, right? Yeah. Actions speak louder than words, and that's what we're trying to do.
It's that, and it's just continuing to build the community, right?
That's it.
I mean, you build the platform, and people will come. And I think you've done a great job of attracting the right people. And I think as long as we keep just bringing strong, powerful local people, whether it's business owners like my guest, or whether it's leaders in the nonprofit world, we are all part of the community, right? We are all what makes everything tick and either go well and go in the right direction, or very quickly starts to snowball the other way around.
It does. And you know what? When we all sit down and have a conversation, we realize that each and every one of us, regardless of our color, regardless of our gender, whatever it is, we all want peace and prosperity, right? That's pretty much it. You give me those 2 things and I'm a happy guy. And you want the same things, right?
Remember who you're talking to, my friend. So I 100%
absolutely, absolutely. And so when we understand that, it's easy to work collectively together to reach the same goal because we have the same goal. That's the biggest commonality that we can share. And so that's what we're trying to do here. Don't want to take up too much of your time because I want people to hear about Mark.
Donate it, man. That was awesome. I'm still fired up just by everything that Miss Singleton is doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the people that don't know, everybody knows you. You're kind of famous. But for people that may not know who Mark Karetskiy is, tell everybody about Mark Karetskiy, Loan Officer Mark, Movement Mortgage. What's going on with that?
Man, there is a ton going on. And I think we learn over these last couple of weeks, the same way as we've learned over the last year with COVID and over the last several years, that if you ever think you're used to what's going on in the mortgage industry and the real estate industry, it's about to change. And so me, I'm a loan officer by trade. I am a people person to the core. I fell in love with real estate. I have a passion for helping specifically first-time home buyers and veterans purchase homes. I also work with a lot of now move-up buyers that we're really helping educate on what opportunities they have in this market to list their home and take that nest egg that they've built up and earned for themselves and really figure out how to best allocate it and manage it. And what I tell everybody is it's my job to put my clients in debt, and I've made it my personal duty and responsibility to help my clients do it responsibly. And to me, the mortgage is what the mortgage is, right? It's debt, but it's the instrument to building a financial legacy for families to come. And that is what gets me fired up, and that's what gets me excited. And also to connect with just amazing entrepreneurs, just business minds like my guest, Pedro, that I wanted to introduce to you and to the entire world of The Difference and just everybody here locally within the DFW. My man Pedro, we met on Clubhouse. London, I know we've been wanting to really have some Clubhouse discussions, and this is my first guest that I have met on the app. I think we connected literally my first day on the app. He is an overall badass, man. As soon as we bring him on, you're gonna compare my beard to what he's rocking over there, and he is like the men of men. But he is incredibly passionate. He's incredibly giving, and he is somebody that I think is making the difference not only within real estate but within the entrepreneur space. And he's got some cool announcements and some cool upcoming businesses that he's rolling out, and I know he is always giving back. And so without further ado, I want to bring on my man Pedro.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, thank you for having me,
man.
Man. It is a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate you invited me, Mark, in London for allowing me to be
here. I got
my
Pedro beard here.
Oh, hell yeah. That's what I like to see. I like it, man. I like it. But yeah, thank you guys. I really appreciate it for the opportunity, because, I think one of the biggest lessons I ever had in my life, man, it comes from Pastor Keith Craft here in Frisco, Texas. He always says that alignment takes precedence over assignment, and what Mark was just saying right now, like how we met and how we came to now work together. He's one of the lenders that we work with, and one of the reasons why we chose him is because the passion of serving others and serving the community and actually helping people, which, is the ultimate goal for me and my wife in our businesses. We have a real estate business here in Dallas, Texas. I also have a marketing company called the Marketing Brewing Company, and we actually serve the craft beer industry, bars, tap rooms, and all those small businesses. And those businesses are very community orientated. So I'm working on some other products and services that I'm gonna be launching here soon for men and for beard. So because you can see, I love beer. I love the beard of life, and I love beer. And I love serving people. So I'm excited to be here, guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So Pedro, you mentioned briefly about your wife. What's your wife's name?
Kayla. She's a realtor. We both are building.
I was going to say we had a big comment here about look at that sexy beard from Kayla. So I'm assuming that's your wife.
Absolutely.
You got your fan club out there.
I mean, she don't love me. She just loves the beard. Like she don't love me.
Oh, I got you.
It is the beard.
So Mark, do you have some things you want to talk, Mark? Do you have some things you want to talk to Pedro about, or because I've got a ton of questions for him right now, especially after meeting him in our pre-show. But
I'm a free flowing guy, so let's just get after it. What do you got top of mind, Levin?
Well, I love. We're gonna get off track here, and we're gonna go a different direction than we normally do because when I get in contact with an entrepreneur, with someone with an entrepreneurial spirit, someone that's tried multiple things that have been successful. Obviously, sometimes we're not. I want to pick their brain. I want to talk to Pedro about being an entrepreneur. Let's start with this first. What was it about taking that risk, about being an entrepreneur, about stepping out on your own with no safety net? What was it about it that gave you the confidence to go for it?
Man, I think what gave me that confidence was ignorance. Sometimes ignorance can be. I
love the honesty.
Hey, don't get me wrong. I love being an entrepreneur, and I don't regret any second of this life. I don't regret it, man. I love being in a position where I'm under pressure, where I have to figure out how to find a solution for every single thing that comes into my life, whether it's in business or my personal life, with my family, finances, whatever it is. I love the challenges, and I've always been that way my entire life. Growing up, I really didn't knew about entrepreneurship. Like all I knew in my mind was I just want to be free, and I just want to do whatever the hell I want because I don't like getting orders from nobody. And that's what my mindset growing up, and until I turned like 24, 25 years old, that I came across entrepreneurs, on YouTube and all these influencers and people teaching about sales and lead generation, where I realized that, okay, there's something here that is really attracting me, and then starting discovering all this entrepreneurship life, where you basically get to do whatever the heck you want with your life, but it comes with a price, and that price is hard work, and it just embedded in me, man. I just love working hard. I love putting myself under pressure. It's funny because a couple of days ago, actually yesterday, I was filling up this form for a podcast that they invited me to be a guest, and the last question was, what's happiness for you? Without thinking, man, the first thing that I start typing there, it was like, for me, happiness to waking up at 5 a.m. every single day, knowing that I have to struggle to go get to the gym, work on myself, improve myself, and then have an entire day where I can improve, help others, and become better every single day. That was like, holy cow. That would not be the answer 5 years ago, 7 years ago, like 7 years ago, probably the answer would be like being a millionaire, but now it's about just that opportunity and that passion that you can do whatever you want every single day of your life, and that you can improve yourself, that you have that opportunity. When you start seeing things from that perspective, and it changed your life,
Absolutely. Well, that gives me another question. It's something that's really been important to me over the years, and I've had that transformation myself. In the beginning, it was about the money. It was about the results. At some point in time, would you agree, Pedro, that it's less about the money and it's more about the process? It is about the journey. Because when it hit me that day, when it was no longer about the money, and I think you can look at professional athletes the same way. Yeah. Dak just got an unbelievable contract. And yes, he held out, and there's different reasons for that, but they still want to win. They still want to put together this Hall of Fame career and do incredible things. And for many of them, I don't think the money is as important as it is their legacy. So talk to me about, I'm sure you've met a lot of other entrepreneurs, a lot of young ones. You've probably mentored several. What is it that you would advise a new entrepreneur as far as knowing the difference between falling in love with the process and not focusing just on the result?
Mm-hmm. Right. You know, let's be honest, and this is something that I guess in my podcast yesterday we're talking about. Like at the beginning, for it doesn't matter who you are. At the beginning, it's all about the money. That's the first thing that you always think, right?
Right.
So if you're a new entrepreneur, if you really want to start a business, if you want to get into this journey and this way of life, because for me it's a way of life, you know. And if you are new into this, if you want to get into this path, remove the money out of the equation, man, because that's the last thing that's gonna come into your life. You know, that's no matter how. I mean, you can have success at the beginning, but I think you have to think first. One of the biggest lessons I'm learning in 2021 is how to manage my money, you know, and man, when you don't know how to manage your money, you make money and then that money just disappear, you know, like we've been looking at with our financial help is like, where all these 20, 30 grand are going, you know, it's just, they just disappear out of nowhere. Right. But that's because we didn't have that financial education from the very beginning when we started being entrepreneurs. When my wife joined me and then we decided, okay, let's go and open up our businesses, you know. But I think if you're getting into this, focus on the money when it comes to learn how to manage your finances. But your ultimate goal should be to serve others. You know, that's our purpose in life, is to serve others and do it in the best way possible. And that's what helps you grow and become better every single day as well, you know?
I agree. I think that also, I love what you're saying there, because where I changed my life, where I started to find more peace and more happiness is when I realized that I can never have enough money. I can't. But what I can control is how I serve others. At the end of the day, if I know I did my best and I gave everything I could to everybody, I'm going to feel satisfied. I'm going to be proud of myself every day. And as I started doing that, I started getting more fulfillment out of my life, out of my career. And yes, some days I didn't make any money, but I still was happy because I did a good job. And I think I think that for a true entrepreneur, sometimes we don't understand it and we don't know how to express it. But I think that's where we get our joy and our fulfillment. What do you think about that?
You know, I think, I completely agree with you, first of all. And also, man, for me, this process is something unique, you know, it's something that definitely changed your life. And other thing that I will add to people that is just started in this is like, you know, like, I don't know if you guys saw that tweet from, I don't know if it's real Elon Musk or who really wrote that, but it was saying that if you need words of encouragement, don't become an entrepreneur, you know? Right. Which I loved it, you know, because a lot of people nowadays, man, they're like, they want to get into all this, but they want to see results right away. I have a lot of people right now telling me, hey, man, you see like you're crushing it every single day on your social media with your podcast and these and all that. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not even close to where I want to be, but whatever you're seeing right now has been the hard work of the past 3 years. So, and the reason why I put it that way is because it's so people can see that it's not something that is going to happen overnight. You have to learn whatever it is that you want to learn, and you have to master your skills in order to become good. But there's no end to this, right? There's always a new level. There's always another step that you can take. There's always more improvement that you can do in your life. And one of the things that I love in my network, in the group that I belong to, man, is that every time someone succeeds in something, when someone has a win every single day, and they're sharing about this, everybody always ends their post with like, but wait until we get good. No matter if they're close to $10 million deal, at the end of the day, it's always wait until we get good, because when you live with that mentality, you know that there's always more for you. But again, it's not about the money. It's about how you much can improve yourself. Money is just a resource, you know. The more money you have and you know how to steward your money and you know how to use your money to help and serve others, obviously God is going to bless you with more. And so you can help more people, right?
Right.
Well, man, are you at all surprised by my guest?
Am I? Yes. I love the energy. I love these conversations because it's a struggle. Pedro, you self-employed people, entrepreneurs, small business owners, we all have experienced the same pain. Yeah. One of the things I want to talk about now is I want to talk about mindset. Some of the coaching that I do with small business owners and entrepreneurs, I tell them that I feel like, and I've learned this over many years, and I've kind of verified it over the year and a half of doing the difference. I believe that mindset is the key component to being a good entrepreneur, small business owner. And I'm going to tell you why, and then I want to get your thoughts on what I say. When most people go into business for themselves, they're thinking money and they're thinking a lot of money. They're thinking flexibility of time. They're thinking vacations. They're thinking this super highlight reel that they've been seeing all these other people do, that they're like, I want to be like them. They look like they have a lot. Elon Musk, all these brilliant people that are super wealthy and look like that everything just is free flowing, smooth. But in order for them to get where they got, they had to endure some tough times, some really hardships. And if you don't have that mindset, if you aren't prepared mentally to endure, you're going to go back to corporate world pretty quick.
Yep.
Give me your thoughts on that.
Man, for me, mindset is everything. Everything in my life is about, like, if I know my mind is not right, I'm not going to succeed in anything. And listen, there's nothing wrong about thinking about having a bunch of money, like being rich as Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. That's completely fine if you have those goals. I mean, I have goals like that. If you see my vision board, I have private jets. I have exotic cars there. I have a lot of stuff that I want to have one day, but that's just the extra stuff, man. I want that, but that's going to be like the extra stuff that I really want in my life. But in reality, it's like who I want to become, and for me, nothing in my life started improving until I changed my mind, like you have here this saying, like, change your mind, you will change your life, right? Because that's where everything starts. If you don't have the right mindset, and the right mindset not only means having all this visualization and doing all the law of attraction stuff. Yeah, that thing is important because it's working, it's real, because when you get what you focus on, right? If you focus on problems, you're going to get problems. If you focus on your goals, you're going to get to your goals, right? But you get what you focus on. So for me, nothing really started changing until I started focusing on what I really wanted to do on a daily basis, because obviously one of the first lessons that most entrepreneurs have gone through, right, is like when you have that reality hits you right in the face, right? And tells you, hey, man, this is not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort, especially if you live in an average life before that, like, for example, before I decided to take care of my health, right? I remember that day I was at the gym. I was like 20 pounds. I had like overweight, right? 20 pounds overweight. And I was pushing myself and I was feeling like crap. I was like, holy cow. And then at that moment, I realized this is the price that you're paying for being average. This is the price that you're paying for not working on yourself. So you have to have the mindset that if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you want to start a business, you have to understand that you're going to have to put in the work, and all the work that you're not willing to do, all the effort and all the discipline that you're not willing to implement in your life. At one point, you're going to pay for it. But if you understand that this is a requirement, and at the end of the day, you have to choose your heart, because you either making money is hard. Being broke is hard too,
Choose
being
your heart,
fit,
right?
getting fit is hard, right? Getting in a good shape is hard, but being overweight is also hard. So you have to choose your heart. No matter which side you decide to go, being average is hard. Being successful and being the most elite version of yourself, getting there is also hard. So it's about choosing your heart, So you have to. That's where you get your focus, right? You want to focus on being average. Don't do anything, and that's what you're going to get out of life. But if you put the right mindset and understand before you even start that whatever you try to accomplish in life, you're going to require effort. It's going to require time. It's going to require sweat. It's going to require blood. It's going to require nights where you're not going to even sleep. It's going to require headaches. It's going to require so many things that you have no idea. Unless you're not willing to go through all that and you don't prepare mentally to go through all that stuff, you stay away from being an entrepreneur. That's the reality.
Yeah. Hey, I got a quick off-base question here. Who's the smartest, you or Kayla? Because she is putting out some quotes here. I'm like, geez, that's awesome. We are no longer chasing paper as much as we're chasing purpose. I love that. Is that something she got from somebody else, or did she create that? Because that's awesome.
No, we actually been learning that from our church. We're in the series right now. It's called Paper Chasers, and it's everything about stewardship and how to actually manage everything in your life. So I'm very passionate about it, and that's why we're trying to get our finances in order and all that stuff. But it's just what we were saying, like you either chase the paper, right? And like the NFL players, right? Like they get these huge contracts and all that stuff, and they want to chase the paper at the end of the day, at the end of their career, right? they end up with nothing. But the ones that chase their purpose are the ones that start building legacy after they're done with their career in the NFL. And I see a lot of that. I know a lot of NFL players. So I know a lot of Super Bowl champions that they are building legacy right now, but because they took the right path and focusing on their purpose, not on the paper, because at the end, the paper is going to be gone, And one of the things that I like about purpose, now that we've been learning a lot more about purpose for the past few weeks, it reminds me of what Ed Milet. I don't know if you know who's Ed Milet. He always talks about.
Yes.
He have this visualization exercise where he imagined himself the day that he dies, right? And then he goes to heaven and he's in front of God, and then God brings someone from this room, right? And he's actually the most elite version of Ed Milet self, right? And then it's like, okay, this is who you meant to be. This is who I created you. And then God's gonna measure if you really hit the mark or not. When you think about that, man, it's kind of scary, right? Like when I get to heaven, man, I want to be like, when they're gonna show me who I'm supposed to be, I want to be 100% that person on earth, So,
right.
But to get there is just the work that you're willing to put. And unfortunately, we live in a society where nobody wants to do the work, which is a benefit for you, me, and Mark, and other entrepreneurs. Listen to this. I believe it is, because the road is less crowded, man. Like 2021 is the year to make money, is the year to grow, is the year to expand your business, to expand your mind, to become better at everything, because a lot of people is just quitting, So there's less people on the road. So I like it.
Absolutely.
I feel sorry for them.
That's funny. Well, it's funny you said that because I had mindset written down here, and then also adaptability. I was within the real estate industry in 2008 when it crashed, and I saw people thrive in a down market. And number one, it was mindset. Number two, it was adaptability. Last year we had COVID, right? I still am seeing businesses grow, even though we were controlled by our government. Told they were picking winners and losers, but yet I'm still seeing some winners that shouldn't have been winning because they were able to adapt. I think that's important. We've got about 4 minutes left, Pedro. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about your businesses. We've got some of your contact information scrolling at the bottom, but tell everybody about the businesses that you have, what you're doing with those businesses, and how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you so much. So like I said before, we have a real estate business with my wife, and our mission there is actually to help others build generational wealth through real estate. Like Mark said, he helps people get in debt, but he changed their perspective from that debt because it's actually a tool, right? So pretty much that's why we work together too, because I think we are on the same page of actually helping people. So one of our main goals right now, or at the beginning of a real estate business, was to help people moving from that renters market into being a homeowners market, right? And teaching them also about everything when it comes to equity and all that kind of stuff that a lot of people don't understand, So that's what we do with a real estate business. We are here in the Dallas area. We focus mainly on the North Dallas area. That's Frisco, Plano, and all those nice areas in North Dallas. And then with the marketing company, man, that's a business that I started right before the pandemic, and it is I focus on craft beer. I help breweries all around the country, and now this year we're gonna start focusing also on bars and distilleries and other businesses like that. And the reason why I started that company is because I love beer. Like I really love beer. Like probably more than anything. Like if I could have beer for breakfast, I would. Trust me. That's how much I love beer. So that inspired me to start that company. They said that the niches are in the riches, the riches are in the niches, right? So that's why I call it a marketing brewing company, because I wanted to identify something that really made me passionate about, and then I was like, okay, I love beer, so what's going on in that industry? So that's pretty much how the marketing brewing company was born. And then I have my podcast is the Brewer and Business Show. When the goal is to help others become the most elite version of themselves in their mindset, their health, their finances, business, in all areas that are important in the life of anyone, but especially in the entrepreneur, you're in the entrepreneur world, So that's the things that I do. And if you want to contact me, the easiest way to go is to pedromeneses.online. That's Pedro, that's Pedro. And Meneses is MENESES.online. That's pretty much my digital business card. You have all links there to all my companies. to the beer products that we're going to be launching soon, which is coming soon. This project is I want to talk about later, but yeah, you can find all my social media profiles there. You can call me, you can set up an appointment, send me an email. That's the easiest way to find me.
All right. Well, we've got about 30 seconds left. Mark, I want you to tell everybody how to get in touch with you. First of all, before you do, I thank both of you for being on the show today. Mark, home run guest today. Good job, buddy.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Pedro, man, it was a pleasure getting to have a conversation with you about business. I love doing that. I'll do it all day long, every day. Both of you are true difference makers. I appreciate that. But Mark, close this out. I'm going to bring Julie in while you're telling everybody a little bit about you.
I am literally ready to run through this computer screen, London. Julie, I don't know how you're going to follow up that, but that's more problem to deal with.
I can do it.
I know. And guys, I absolutely love Julie. You guys got to check her out, and super incredible company, incredible things they're doing for our marketplace as well. Pedro, I don't know if you've looked into Super, but definitely give him a look. Me, guys, just thank you for having me. London, pleasure as always. Guys, I'm here to really just try to bring as much value as I can, really connect with as many people as I can, and just really continue to make a difference in this market and in our community. My name's Mark. I'm Loan Officer Mark. You can find me at loanofficermark.com, or you can just send me an email, mark@loanofficermark.com. Look forward to speaking with you guys soon, and enjoy Julie's segment.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks a lot. See you later. Julie, what's going on?
Well, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How's everything with you?
It's going. I mean, it's a crazy market, but it's going.
It is. Are you super busy?
Not as busy as we want to be. It is busy. This is the season, like March through September, right at the beginning of October. This is our busiest season, working with real estate agents and brokerages as the housing market starts to move and boom. But we're in a unique scenario right now where there's a lot of gridlock. So there's a lot of buyers and there's not a lot of sellers. Mm-hmm. And then the properties that do get contracts on them, of course, there's 20 or 30 offers on the same house.
Okay.
So,
well, tell everybody about Julie. I know who you are. I know what you do, but let's tell people that may be watching for the first time who Julie is and a little bit about Super.
All right. So I am Julie Altemus with Super Home Warranty. We entered the Texas market about 3.5 years ago, and it's been an exciting journey ever since then. This company was started to reinvent the home warranty industry. Primarily, our target is real estate agents, more so now, and later on there will be more direct to consumer. Right now, it's working primarily with agents and brokerages. And this company was started to reinvent an old, I guess, model or system, if you will, that's been around for decades, and it's been a dinosaur. And it has not developed a great reputation over the last several decades for good reasons. And so Super wanted to change that. We're here to make things different with coverage limits, to make things better with service providers, to incorporate technology now into an ever-growing business, which helps us a lot with systems and processes and data and gathering all that information and becoming better and faster at what we do, more efficient with the process, the home warranty process. So it's been a very exciting journey. Super is a startup company. You're considered a startup company your first 10 years, and we're about in our 7th year now. And it's been really fun. I mean, definitely I've had to wear a lot of hats from, of course, the main position, which is an account executive. That hat I wear every day, but customer service sometimes, marketing, development, different plans and not systems, but different plans and services that we want to implement, and creating those things from the ground up and implementing them and executing them into our business just to make us better. So it's been an amazing journey.
Awesome. What's a good referral source for you? What is a good referral partner for you? Who are the people that you can help? Obviously, it's people that own a home, buy a home, Those are people that need a home warranty, correct?
Right.
Sometimes in selling a home, the seller can actually get a home warranty too. Am I right about that?
That's right. So everybody really would be a great audience for us because most everybody owns a home. So I would say anybody that's a homeowner, of course, but it's not just the homeowners that are, like I live in a typical square footage house, I would say just average size, but we cover all the way up to luxury properties. A lot of people don't think about home warranties for luxury properties. And we cover all the way up to 15,000 square feet. I got a crazy phone call. I don't know. It was probably about a year and a half ago. And it was somebody saying they had this big house out in Salina or Prosper. And you might even know who it is when I say that. And they had 29 air conditioning units and wanted to know if there was any cap on air conditioning units. And I was like, I don't think you need a home warranty, to be honest. But if you have 29 air conditioning units, you're doing pretty good.
Does he no longer live there anymore?
Correct. But
okay. Used to play football?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Likes the bass fish?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But this was not the owner now. It was a new owner. So anyway,
okay.
But primarily we target, like I was talking about, realtors now and brokerages, though we do some direct to consumer. And of course, anybody that has a home would be a perfect candidate. So in 2030, our goal is to be in 1 out of every 4 homes. So that tells you, if that gives you kind of any indication of how fast we're growing and where our targets are. My CEO calls that big, hairy, audacious goals.
Oh, that's cool. So you, besides home warranty, you talked about all the hats you wear. You do a lot of education too, right?
I do, yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So even in the home warranty space, I'm still wearing, like you said, the education hat. So I teach certified classes where agents can get, CE credit, if you will. So I'm John Maxwell certified as a teacher, leader, and speaker of his material. And for those of you who are not familiar with John Maxwell, he's similar to a Tony Robbins, been in the industry for years. Leadership, does all kinds of leadership material, has written over 100 books. And I became a part of his program along with my husband about 5 years ago. And now I utilize his material in these CE classes, teaching agents all kinds of different things. So that's been fun too. I love to teach. I love to help other people. And so this was a perfect fit for me just to become CE certified through TREC in the state of Texas and teach some of these classes and courses.
Obviously, meeting new people, expanding your circle of influence, your sphere of influence, making new connections, that's important and critical to your business. How important is that teaching aspect and allowing you to do that and to getting to know new people and really getting to know them and developing partnerships?
Well, you said it. I mean, getting to know people. I mean, how many opportunities? We can't get to know people unless we spend time with people. So
right.
The more we get in front of people, whether it's in the brokerage, taking lunch, breakfast, whatever, and we get to have a little bit of small talk here and there before they're on to their class and their training for the day. But when I get the opportunity to hold the class and present the class and get questions and get good feedback and hang around before and after, it helps me and them build good relationships. And it's really important that we build good relationships, because there's only 2 people that stay so closely connected to the buyers after the close of the house, and that's the realtor and the home warranty company. So this is a perfect combination and perhaps one of the most valued, because in a heartbeat, this referral for an agent can go south if they have a bad experience with a home warranty company. So it's really crucially important that we stay well connected and bond and have a great relationship and partnership and get to know one another. And things like the CE courses just give you more opportunities to get to know people and connect with them on a personal level.
Right. All right. Well, I know you've got a guest sitting backstage. I want to get him in there as soon as we can. So tell me a little bit about Mark, how you met him, and then I'm going to let you. I'm going to bring him in and let you introduce him.
Well, Mark Madison is an amazing person that I have recently gotten to know, and I met him through my husband, Thomas. My husband remodels homes for a living. He's done it for 30 years, and he's supposed to be retired, but he's not home today working. So he just picks up little things here and there. Well, he met Mark through a referral, and Mark had Thomas do some work on his home. Come to find out, Mark is the owner of Barbell Apparel. Now, once you find out the story about Barbell and how it was started, you're going to absolutely love this guy and what he did. So there's a favorite line that I have in a Disney movie, and it's a robot, and I'm pulling a blank on his name. I think it's Robbie, and I'll look that up so I can find it. But his favorite line in the movie for me is "See a need, fill a need," and that's exactly what he did in this space where he is with Barbell. As you can imagine, the name Barbell should give it away, but there was a true need in the marketplace, and he did it, and he stepped up, and now he's made this great company that's just taking off like crazy. So I cannot wait for you to meet Mark Madison, who is the owner and founder of Barbell Apparel.
All right, let's bring him in. Hi, Mark.
Hey, Landon. How are you guys? Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Hi.
Doing good.
Thanks for the build up there. That was nice.
You feeling a little fluffy now?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I feel good about this. So yeah, I am one of 4. We do have a total of 4 owners now of Barbell. So I'm gonna be sure and mention that. But yeah, thanks. I always love telling our story. So I do. It is pretty interesting. I never would have guessed it. I never would have ever thought ever I'd be in the apparel business. But you know, God has a plan sometimes that you may not be aware of. So, so anyways, I'll tell a little bit about it. So basically it started for me back in 2012. My wife, we had decided for her to go back to work, and she had contacted her previous employer, which was a credit union based in Dallas. And they had just recently bought out another credit union in Las Vegas. So after much consideration, at the time I was working for myself, I was like, you know what, let's just go. Let's be adventureful and let's just do it. So anyways, we headed to Vegas. We moved our whole family out there. And again, I was working for myself at the time. I was actually in the tire business, doing some brokering. And after we got settled there, I was always in my local bank doing transactions. And I always saw this one kid in there, and he'd always chat me up every time I'd go in. And over time, we became friends. And you know, he saw that I was in business for myself, and he was intrigued and always kept asking me questions. So we got to be friends after a while, and then the ideas started being pitched to me, and which I gladly accepted. And at the time, the workout brand CrossFit was becoming really big, and I didn't know much about it. I'd heard about it, but didn't really know the details. But anyways, this kid had an idea of wanting to put together a line of fitness equipment that tailored to that market. So we're talking, you know, kettlebells, bumper plates, that type stuff. And he kept hitting me up every time I'd be in there, every week or so, a couple times a week. And I was like, man, okay, I kept putting him off. But finally, I was like, you know what? If you can pre-sell some of this stuff, I said, I'll help you out financially with it, you know. So thinking there's no way he'd ever do that. So anyways, you know, a few weeks later, he's like, all right, I got the orders. I was like, oh, man, like, all right. So here we go. Now we're in the equipment business, apparently. So anyways, I gave him some kind of startup money to put some molds together and build some equipment with his name. At the time, it was under the name Primal Strong. That was kind of his thing. And we shipped a container of fitness equipment to Las Vegas and used a local third-party warehouse distributor to handle the orders. And then he had another friend of his who was big into the technology and built us a website and kind of handled that aspect of it. And between the three of us, we started hitting the street and talking to local gyms and trying to sell equipment, you know, along with the website. And things were slow, but orders kept coming in, and we ended up getting involved locally in the Vegas market for, you know, just local workout competitions. So we got to know some people, and one day some guys were hitting us up about pants. And I was like, okay. And they were like, man, I have to buy a size 36 jean just to fit my legs, but my waist is a 32. I was like, okay, like I didn't know that was a thing, but okay. So they're like, well, can you build us some pants? Because they knew we were building everything, you know, for this company. I was like, I mean, I guess we can reach out and see, you know, but needless to say, we ended up building some prototypes and that fit this particular body style, which was basically a small waist, you know, larger leg type body style. he thought they were perfect, and he's like, hey, let's throw them on this platform Kickstarter, which I didn't really know much about the time, but obviously that's a crowdfunding website. So I was like, all right. So we had, probably a total of, 6 or 7 pairs of jeans, one of each size, basically for men's. And we decided to make a video on Kickstarter. So I was like, okay. So, we didn't have any money to even make a video. So we made a deal with some local kids in Vegas. I was like, hey, if you guys will shoot the video and help us put basically a trailer together, commercial together, we'll give you 5% of whatever we make on Kickstarter. Not even thinking of it. I didn't personally think it'd do that well. We put a goal on Kickstarter of, all right, let's try to raise $15,000. Okay. Well, we go in and we launch this thing, and some of our other friends were big into Instagram and the social media thing, and they were kind of talking it up as we were building this campaign to launch. And all of a sudden, the first day we hit our goal, and I was like, oh God, okay. So now we're in the apparel business apparently. So, and then all of a sudden it's, we have ABC News calling for interviews, and we're like, what in the world is going on? And then, we were like, why are they wanting to talk to us? Like, it's just, whatever. So, come to find out, it was, I guess, perfect timing now looking back at it. But, our campaign was around, bigger, thicker, men and women too, like muscular, So at the time, Target, this is like mid 2014, like summerish 2014. So Target, the brand Target, had come out with an ad campaign for their summer catalog for and they had girls in bikinis, and they got caught photoshopping these girls to have what they called thigh gap. Like, it was a big deal back then. So I guess like promoting really skinny females for whatever reason. Well, we come out and launch this pretty much opposite, and like thicker, muscular women in our ads, and we got labeled anti-thigh gap, not even knowing. That's what all these the media were calling for interviews about this, and we're like, oh my gosh. So one of my partners does an interview for ABC, and it like gets syndicated, and all of a sudden, our ad campaign right in the middle of this Kickstarter campaign jumps up to over $700,000, like in a 30-day period, and we're like, oh my gosh, like just over 5,000 orders came in this time period, and we're like, oh my God, I have no idea how we're going to fill all these orders. Like, man. So anyways, we got busy. We started talking to every factory we could, and we ended up filling all the orders and working with the factory to finally get some product in the hands. And, now we're in the apparel business, and we put a halt on the fitness equipment, all hands on deck now in the apparel business. So, but anyways, we kind of rode that wave for a couple years. And then in 2016, we decided to do a casting call for Shark Tank, and not really even thinking, oh, we want to sell out or anything like that. Because at the time, the business was doing strong. We were growing organically and everything was really good. So we're like, what the heck, let's just try it. So there was a casting call in Vegas, and 2 of my partners went to it. And, a couple interviews later, all of a sudden they asked them to come out and start filming. And I'm like, okay, get after it, go start filming. So they, kind of on the back end of that show, they film every season, they film about 80 episodes, but only 50 of them will air. And they don't tell you if you're going to air or not. So we're like, I was asking them like, hey, did it go good? You know what I mean? Like because I didn't get to see it. So I was on the backside of it, but I was like, do you think we're going to air? Do we need to build up inventory? What are we going to do here? And they're like, man, they won't tell us anything. So I was like, oh geez. So as the season started, coming to the forefront, I saw a Facebook kind of trailer that Shark Tank did, and they did like a trailer where you could see like apparently who was coming up in the episodes. And for a split second, I saw one of my partner's face, and I was like, dude, we're gonna be on, man. Like, what? Like, we gotta get inventory increase. Like, and this was like, then they called like 2 days later, like, oh yeah, by the way, you're gonna be on in the next week and a half, and we're like, oh my gosh, here we go again with another Kickstarter, type thing with thousands of orders, and so anyways, that aired on November of 2016. It was season 8, episode 9, and obviously the viewing and the way they edited it went very well. We did not do an equity deal with any of them, but it ended up being a very good showing, and they were basically, hey, you guys are on the right path. Just keep doing what you're doing type attitude on it, which we were very thankful for. And obviously, that was huge sales for us from that mid-November to the end of the year was big sales for us. And honestly, we've been riding that wave ever since. It's just kind of taken us to the next level. So, but now, here we are 2021, and we feel like our next step is more on the retail level, just going direct to consumer and getting into our local communities. So we really had it planned last March, our first store opening in Las Vegas, and we pushed it to June with the pandemic. But so we launched that one in the downtown Summerlin area of Las Vegas, June of last year, and it's done very well. So that's why I'm in Scottsdale today. We're almost done with our second store that we're opening next week. So things are looking really good. So we feel like that's kind of the next step for growth for us on the retail side.
Wow, that's a cool story.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny is I'm sitting there going, he's going to say he's going to be on Shark Tank.
Oh,
I'm sitting there thinking that. I'm like, it's gotta be.
Yeah, that was a fun experience.
So cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about. I want to dig into that journey a little bit more. I'm kind of a entrepreneur geek, right? So you've gone these different paths, but it's always been the entrepreneurial path. What do you love about starting these businesses, about taking that risk, about putting yourself out there, especially in some instances maybe where you're not as a lot of entrepreneurs get started, Mark, because they've been doing this for 5 or 10 years for someone else, and they're just like, I'm ready to do this on my own.
Yeah, I mean,
you started with the fitness equipment. What experience did you have with that? Any?
No, zero. So to back up a little bit, my experience, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I told my wife that very early on, and it always scared her to death because she's not like that at all. She wants to go to work and get a paycheck, and I just have that drive in me that I just refuse to kind of go that route for whatever reason. But it started for me on my own completely. Like out of college, I went into the tire business, and I went to work for a manufacturer, Toyo, and I was on the road with them. I spent almost 5 years with them, and I'd worked for other manufacturers as well after Toyo. And then I was like, man, I'm just going to do it myself. I mean, the tire business is very easy to get into by yourself. There's basically zero barriers to entry besides cash. So, I played around in the tire business, kind of just brokering. There's a big kind of, I'd say underground, maybe not the right term, but we brokered deals. We'd buy and sell, and just kind of on the back end of the tire business. And recently we turned that in. We actually do have a store in the Dallas area that we work on for 18-wheelers. It's a tires and service shop that we've kind of turned that into over time. But I just have that drive. I don't want to work for anybody, so I just love doing it on my own, and I love finding a way just somehow or another, just figure it out, so it can be an interesting ride, but there's, many failures, but on barbell is just one that hit, so
right.
You gotta try.
Absolutely. So you mentioned that your wife doesn't have that mentality, and I think where a lot of us, I know I've been down that road where I'm not married now, and part of that is because entrepreneurship, right? And it is scary for those people that don't have that mentality. Yeah. How do you balance that, Mark? How does that dynamic work? Because I'm telling you, I've observed so much of that. It takes a great relationship. Yeah. It takes a spouse that, obviously there's a lot of trust there, because it's terrifying for people that don't have that mentality. How do you make it work? Having
the yin to the yang, basically, like she helps balance me out, obviously on the relationship side and with our kids, and she was working a lot too, so we kind of balanced it. But at one point, I hated that we had a weekend because I just wanted to keep going and going and going, so, but I finally had to, just kind of take a step back and realize what's more important, and just more time management than anything, just right. Go hard, for as long as I can. And then, realized that I do have responsibilities at home and I have young kids, and I realized that was super important, and I had to prioritize some things as well. But overall, I mean, we just kind of figure out a way and adapt as we go, and it's just seemed to work. So, and honestly, relationship wise, just keeping the communication there, obviously.
Right.
So, yeah,
absolutely.
Super important. So
when we talk about Barbell Apparel, I know you said that you've got the new store in Arizona now. What's your next 3-year plan? I mean, how many more stores are you going to open up? I know that you mentioned, now, are y'all, the apparel that you have, is it all kinds, or is it the jeans, the pants? What is it that you guys do exactly?
So that was our staple. Like, we started with jeans, and now obviously still, majority of our income still comes from denim sales. That's just going off of last year's data that I just actually ran recently. So, but we've turned it into a full line of, we do have kind of the performance workout wear, but we do and kind of focus on the casual wear. For men's side, we have the jeans and chinos, and more of the dress pants and polo shirts and button-up shirts. Kind of have a full line. And then on the women's side, we do carry denim and some other pant options for women, along with some of the performance athleisure wear for women as well. So that's obviously more, it seems to be more important at the retail level, because those are the ones out shopping the most. But so yeah, we've turned it into a full line. I mean, we've got over 3,000 SKUs now, and a pretty full warehouse. So
wow,
turned it into a pretty good operation. Yeah,
that's crazy. So is it custom order type stuff, or, I mean, do you have specific sizes? The reason I asked that is back many years ago, I was into bodybuilding, and I'm a 5'8" guy, and I had to wear XX shirts like you have, the button downs. Well, when you do that as a 5'8" guy, your sleeves come down probably about 6 inches past your hand. So, but I couldn't wear any other shirt. So, I mean, are they custom order stuff, or how does that work?
We don't do any custom order. We try to make our patterns fit, as many people as we can, obviously, but with a little bit more, like for these shirts, for instance, is a little bit more room in the arms and shoulders, for that type of build. We keep them a length, like on these specific ones, we keep a length where it's okay to tuck in, but it also looks great, leaving it out. You know what I mean? Because a lot of bigger guys will not necessarily want to tuck it in all the time. So things like that. Same thing with our jeans. We have a specific pattern that we keep, to build around our original idea of, thicker legs and smaller waist. And that seems to have been a niche that needed to be filled. As like Pedro said earlier, there's riches in the niches, and so
that's true. Yeah. And I wish y'all had been around 20 years ago, because I look like I dressed like a homeless person with brand new clothes. That's kind of the way I was dressed. Nothing fit.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I had no idea. When these guys first brought it, I was like, "What are we doing? Like, what are you guys even talking about?" And then all of a sudden, it just struck a chord. I would have never guessed, honestly. So, but as you let the market take you, you have a plan of building fitness equipment, and all of a sudden you're in the apparel business. So it's funny how things work, but you kind of got to go with it and learn to just go where the market tells you. So absolutely.
That's kind of funny, because that's really what our live stream and our radio show has done. I mean, we started with an intent to deliver a certain message. And this is it just keeps evolving, and we keep figuring out ways to bring more awareness and help more businesses by making the changes. And so I'm just riding it out, man. I'm letting this thing take on its own identity, and I'm just going to go wherever it takes me.
Absolutely.
Well, Mark, I've got your contact information scrolling around the bottom, but tell everybody how to get in touch with you. And also, I still have some really deep connections in the fitness industry after spending, a decade more in there. I had my own fitness centers and stuff too. So if it's something you're doing retail, I'd love to help connect you with some people that may be able to help you as well.
That'd be fantastic. Yeah. So my direct email is mark@barbellapparel.com. Website is barbellapparel.com. Facebook and Instagram is @barbellapparel. We have a huge online following, and now that we're getting into the retail business, obviously Vegas and Scottsdale, and hopefully Scottsdale goes real quick and we can see that real quick, because we do have plans for future locations even this year. So we're kind of our next 2 spots, we're looking at Dallas and a South Florida type location. Obviously we got to look at where markets are open right now. So but those 2, living in Dallas, I see that, more or less, it's not too far off from being pretty normal in that regard. So South Florida is the same way. So so we look for big things. We look to start hitting the retail level, so we want to expand as fast and I guess as conservative as possible too. We obviously don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but we kind of feed off each store. So Vegas did really good. Hopefully Scottsdale in the location that we have here is going to do real well, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that over the next couple of years. So.
Awesome. Well, Mark, it was a pleasure meeting you. I'm so thankful that Julie introduced you and brought you on the show. Julie, I want you to
great being here. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot. Julie, tell everybody how to get in touch with you. We've got about 10 seconds left, so not much time.
Good thing I can talk fast. So Julie at hellosuper.com. Our website is also hellosuper.com. And then, of course, my phone number is scrolling across the bottom where you can reach me as well.
All right, Julie, thanks a lot. Mark, again, thanks so much for being on. Love your story. Good luck with everything. Let's keep in touch. I love seeing how these things play out. Julie, really appreciate you. Thanks so much for being part of the Difference Makers, and we'll see everybody Tuesday next week.
Thank you.